Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm back, baby, and I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the U stands for evil.
And I'm relieved that he's back, and also the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have Bad Juju with garlic butter. So yeah, this one is by Mak Ralston. It's on Creepypasta.wiki, and it's a pasta of the month. For I think I'm not sure which month exactly, but it was nominated pasta of the month on the Creepypasta wiki site. And I suppose we should do our initial recommendations. Yeah, sorry, it's been a week.
You should be fumbling. I was the one that was fumbling last week.
I mean, it's been a busy week.
Yeah.
Traveling through the spooky and scenic wilds of New Brunswick, to get, and then driving with only 48 hours of sleep. So, or with 48 hours.
That's a lot of sleep.
Oh, sorry,
you slept for that
long. driving with 48 hours without sleep.
Ah, that's very different.
Yeah. I was awake for about 48 hours, and then I drove an 18-hour drive. So yeah, that was fun.
Yes.
But initial recommendations. I'm not going to recommend it, but I have a caveat to that later.
I'm going to partially recommend it.
I'm not going to recommend it, and I don't have a caveat to that later.
Okay. Well, let's dive in and see why we gave those rather harsh or darker recommendations.
Also, Mikey's the most positive. What's going on here?
I leave for 1 week.
Yeah, really. See what happens when you leave us? We change. We're very different people now.
Yeah, so much has changed. The stars are no longer aligned with his body.
Yes.
Well, I guess we should find out why we gave those recommendations. Starting with the rundown. So, Kayla, a little girl, and her parents are eating at a Cajun restaurant. Her dad is trying to convince Kayla to try lobster, though she seems more interested in keeping one as a pet, something that her parents ultimately give in on. While this is going on, two criminals at the table nearby, Jordan and Daryl, discuss their current affairs and the concept of good and bad juju, or karma, when they take note of this family's rather affluent means, with the whole purchasing of a live lobster for their kid to have at home as a pet. Jordan and Daryl decide to follow the family home and see how much more money they have. That night, Jordan and Daryl break into the family's house, scaring Kayla and sexually assaulting her mom, but keeping them quiet as they search the house for more money. They find a little bit more, but not as much as they were hoping for, and then notice that the lobster in the pail of salty water next to Kayla's bed. They decide to take it with them as they flee the scene, looking to cook it up as a celebratory dinner. On the drive back to their apartment, they are inspecting the mother's ring that they took, but it slips into the lobster bucket, and as Jordan tries to fish it out, he gets a bloody wound from the lobster's claw. The commotion is enough to distract Daryl, who's driving, and they crash into an oak tree head-on at high speeds. They both come to momentarily before dying from their injuries, but not before lamenting the karma of the situation, or the stupidity of themselves. Police, who were already on their trail, find the wreck and the two dead crooks, some drugs in the back of the car, as well as the lobster in the back seat, still alive and well. Finn. Yeah, that's bad juju with garlic butter. So suppose now it's time for everyone tolerates grammar acquisitions. At this point, I've got a few. Most of them are just like praise, I suppose, about like some of the some of the things I liked about the grammar or like the formatting of the story.
Okay.
But I'll start with this one. Come on, let's go back to Mom, he said, scooping up his daughter in his arms and carrying her back to the table. And then there's a horizontal break line. It was a quaint little Cajun place off the main highway, not too shabby, limited seating, but good food. Places like these always draw in eccentrics from every walk of life. Case in point, the table directly across from Kayla's family with two middle-aged men munching down on some shrimp. So yeah, I just want this story uses horizontal dividing lines like or like kind of like to go back and forth between different like scenes or like to transition between scenes rather well, and I just thought that was really like I really appreciated like how it was doing that in the story.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
Because it doesn't directly say that there's a scene change. Like it doesn't describe the new scene. It just jumps in. So
Yeah.
without the description, it's really handy having that little dash.
Yeah, it's also not even like a full blown like horizontal line. It's just like a dash in the middle, like but separate. But it's a separation marker basically. That's really handy. And then the next thing I have here. You want to try one? Kayla's dad. Sullivan nodded. We can split it. They're like $30. And I was like, Sullivan nodded? Because it's like Sullivan dash nodded. And I was like, what is that? And so according to Google, so a Sullivan nod is this sales technique that was thought up by a restaurant consultant, Jim Sullivan, and it was meant as a way of subconsciously persuading someone to get interest in a thing if the salesman nodded in their head slightly toward the subject of the interest. So it's like sort of like a sort of like subtle way of persuasion.
Yeah.
So I just like that was an interesting like use. As like I've never really heard that term or that theory even, but now that I've like seen what it like know that like now that I have a term for it, like I know exactly what that is because like you always see that in like car salesmen doing it or like other like shop owners and stuff like that. Like they nod towards something and like for the customer.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know the term for that either, but
yeah,
ditto.
And then there's one thing that did kind of bug me in the writing, and this is it here. He crept in, opening drawers and cabinets, eventually finding Mr. Kayla's dad's wallet. So I don't know exactly why, but Mr. Kayla's dad and earlier Mrs. Kayla's mom sounds very strange to me. Like you could have just said Kayla's mom or Kayla's dad.
Yes. I don't understand.
Is it because they don't get given a last name?
I think that is, but like it's just well they could have just said like Kayla's mom and Kayla's dad. Like why did they add the Mr. and Mrs.? It just seemed like an unnecessary use of those of that bit. So
yeah, I didn't get it either.
Yeah,
I got past it, but I'm not over.
You got past it. I don't forgive it though.
No, unforgivable.
Yeah. And that's all I've got for grammar acquisition. Mikey.
All right. Let's see here. The one that I noted here is Jordan stopped midway through plucking his fingers with his mouth.
Okay.
Yeah, that one just took me out because I was like, what the heck does that mean?
Yeah, because like
yeah. So he's moving his fingers quickly with his mouth, which makes me think that he's got his fingers in his mouth,
mm-hmm.
and then he speaks. So he's speaking with his fingers in his mouth? Like,
So
well, he stopped.
yeah.
He stopped midway through plucking his fingers with his mouth.
Yeah,
Shouldn't it be plucking his mouth with his
in.
fingers? Also,
Yeah.
shouldn't that be backwards saying plucking his
Yeah.
mouth with his fingers?
Yeah. Like, I think I got what it was meaning when I was reading it. Like, I figured it was just like a weird way of saying like basically he's like sucking the food off of his fingers as he's eating, because it's like that's like because he's eating, it's finger food like shrimp and stuff like that. Like he's like he's like basically sucking the whatever's on his fingers like with like sucking it off. Yeah. So
It was just like scratching the inside of his mouth or something.
Yeah. Plucking is a weird way to describe that, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shouldn't it just be like licking the
licking
the
your
grease
fingers
off his fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, licking his fingers with his mouth. That fixes.
Not to say with mouth. How else would you lick your fingers if you don't use your mouth? Tell me.
With his dog's mouth? I don't know.
There's no dog there.
But if there was a dog.
There isn't, though. Yes.
I mean, apparently it's also could according to Google AI.
Right.
Likely refers to a child or individual putting their fingers in their mouth and using their teeth to pull or pluck at the skin or nails. The action is often associated with a habit, which can be a normal developmental stage or a coping mechanism for anxiety and stress. But honestly, when it comes to like what's mentioned in the story, I feel like it makes more sense if he's like just like licking the shrimp bits off of his fingers or something like that, or like that kind of thing. Because
yeah.
Agreed.
All right. And then I have a conjunction junction.
All right. And next stop, conjunction junction. Doot, doot.
Because some people like to eat them. But why are they going to eat them? Because they taste yummy. But they didn't do anything bad, did they? It was a quaint little Cajun place off the main highway. So, like, karma? It's not exactly the same, but fine. It's okay. So, can we get one? It's a shit ton of money. And for its new owner, it was the anticipation of a lifetime, a first pet being brought home. And that's when Kayla lit up with an idea. And you too. It's gonna take a hell of a lot of good juju to make up for this. It's in the bucket. And that's when Kayla's mother entered the scene. But how about we talk about this anything you mentioned? It's a bust. They don't have shit. It was still a long drive ahead, and the pair realized that the family, at this point, had likely already called the cops, meaning they had a very tight window for getting the hell out of Dodge. It was Rocky's ring now. And that's when everything went dark. It was an odd scene, to say the least. 4 pounds of spiked methamphetamine under the back seat, a coating of blood-laced salt water on the floor, a wedding band, and severed finger resting underneath the passenger seat, and, of course, a lobster named Rocky, still very much alive in the back seat, and maybe feeling minimal pain. Finn.
Okay, hang on.
There's a run-on sentence at the end.
That is 100% what, but that's not what I'm thinking of, because I just realized something from re-listening to that. Where are their bodies?
They ran away.
I thought they died. Fuck.
They run away? I thought they died.
Yeah,
Fuck.
no, hang on. Yeah, hang on.
No, they're dead. Hang on. They have to die. They must die. Karma.
Daryl was alive, though not for long, but had too much blood in his mouth to speak. He bad juju was all he could sputter. Jordan shook his head against the glass with the rest of his strength. No, man, he said, there ain't no juju. We did this shit on ourselves. Jordan dropped right then and there.
Yeah, so it says twice, like, Daryl was alive, though not for long, so he's about to die.
Yeah.
And then it switches over to Jordan, shook his head against the glass with the rest of his strength. So he just lost the rest of his strength. So they're dead.
But then the police arrived on the scene shortly thereafter. They were already on the pair's trail, and when they found three-fourths of the SUV mounted into an oak tree, it was safe to assume they found them. It was an odd scene. It was an odd scene, to say the least. 4 pounds of spiked methamphetamine under the back seat, a coating of blood-laced salt water on the floor, a wedding band, and a severed finger resting underneath the passenger seat. And of course, a lobster named Rocky, still very much alive in the back seat and maybe feeling minimal pain. No point at the end does it say that there were bodies in that car.
I'm assuming the bodies are there. They're listing all the shit that is put in a case against them for all the fucked up shit they did.
This might tie into something I have later in my actual thoughts, but I just realized at no point do the authorities really reference the bodies. So sorry.
It's fine.
Other than that, I mean, yes, those are all its ends or buts at the front of front of sentences, but most of it was in dialogue. So when the character talks,
there was a lot of dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah. And Gamer, are you going to do the end bit for that?
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. And for those unaware, Mikey grabs all the sentences that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like its, ends, or buts, because there's always better words to use. I gotta reword this, actually, because Mikey grabs all the sentences throughout a story, like its, ends, or buts, strings them together into a story with sometimes hilarious results, mainly to highlight that there's always better words to use.
Unless it's dialogue.
Unless it's dialogue, yeah, but we give it a pass, but Mikey does not.
Yeah. Mikey will die on that hill.
Hell yeah.
All right, and Gamer, do we have a grammar in yellow?
We do not.
Okay.
We do not.
Not. Oh, hi, Mark. Oh, hi, actual thoughts.
Nice segue.
That's the best I got, man.
Yeah.
Moving on to actual thoughts. So I'm going to start with this one here. The hell is Juju's? You don't. Daryl stopped himself from another headache. Juju. Juju is like, if you do bad, you get bad. You get me? So like karma. Yeah, like karma. Then just say karma. It's not exactly the same, but fine. Point is, if we're going to rack up some bad juju, we got to balance it out with good juju. And so as I was reading this little bit back and forth, I was like, man, this kind of reminds me of Gamer's gripe with language.
Kind of. A little bit, yeah.
How dare there be words that mean mean the same thing?
I mean, it really didn't bother me.
I guess yours is more like a word that means different things rather than two words that mean the same thing.
Yeah, because different countries and nationalities and stuff,
cultures and stuff.
They'll all name things around the same time period back in the day. And they didn't necessarily have the internet back then to be like, oh, that's already a word for something. Okay, we'll just call it that instead. Everyone names things the way that they want to name it.
Yeah, different cultures that weren't connected to each other came up with their own words for the same kind of concepts, because the concepts are universal, but we have different interpretations of them in wording.
Yes, indeed.
But I'll move on to the next thing I have. Little did Kayla, her mom, dad, or Rocky know that tailing just behind them in a black SUV was Daryl and Jordan. Too distracted by the new pet, The unsuspecting family had no idea that any harm was coming for them. This blissful ignorance, though, would soon run out. And I was like, spoilers? Though I do feel like this is going to have a twist or something at the end where like the two crooks tailing the family are going to get their comeuppance. Maybe the family has some dark secret and it's like, aha, like you thought you were the wolves against the lambs. Turns out you're the lambs against the wolves. Update, not really.
No, not at all. That would have been cool, actually.
Yeah, I've got notes. I have further notes on that. But
Okay.
yeah, these guys are just sleazy scumbags, but they do get what they deserve at the end. It's just not in a like a cool twist ending where like the family's actually like John Wick or like some like family of
vampires
monsters
or something.
Exactly, yeah. And then the next thing I have here is Daryl looked from the girl to the bucket, pulling out an M9 and waving it in front of her face, tapping his finger on the trigger. He leaned over the bed and shot a glance into the bucket. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen.
I was like, are you really gonna shoot the fucking lobster?
Yeah. He's just that big of a dick. Just shoot him dead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat him anyways.
And speaking of that as well, so the next thing is like, who keeps a lobster as a pet? Jordan laughed. We'd be better off to eat the fucking thing. Search the other rooms. When we leave, we'll take the lobster and crack into it tonight. A celebratory dinner, huh? Jordan nodded, creaking open Kayla's bedroom door and creeping down the hallway. And it was like, man, I hope Kayla goes like John Wick on these fuckers. Like, I know Kayla's the monster or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I know it is a lobster, but it's still like her first pet. And as a kid, like that is like precious. Like any animal that you have as a pet as a kid is like very precious to you.
Indeed.
Update again. Not really. No, like but the lobster does kind of get the last laugh.
Yeah, the lobster the lobster killed them.
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, straight up did.
Absolutely killed them.
Their stupidity and its claw strength is what murdered them.
Even though its claws were in like rubber bands, so
were they? Oh no, they weren't because Kayla had the rubber bands like that she was like kind of playing with as she went to bed.
Oh, okay.
She had taken them off. Yeah.
No, all right, never mind then.
Yep.
Just update my notes a little bit.
Move on to the next thing I have here.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan pressed on, though the fog made it difficult to see through the chilled glass. You could say that the pair was now trapped within a tank of their own, of sorts. Certainly not the one of the local Cajun place, but one nonetheless. So I stopped at the very beginning there, so when I first took my note, I was like I got to the part where it's like Jordan pressed on through though the fog made it difficult to see through the chilled glass, and I stopped there before I was like taking notes, like, oh, that's kind of like this line earlier at the very almost at the very beginning of the story where like they're talking about like the lobsters and the crawdads in the chilled glass of the tank at the Cajun place. I was like, oh, that's actually really like that's almost like a cool callback. And then like I keep reading, it's like, oh wow, the story is acknowledging this. Okay, cool. So it is like all but confirmed that it was a callback to the earlier mention of the lobster tank. And again, I just really appreciate how poetic that is. The story had a lot of like kind of like things that kind of rhymed like narratively. And I was for it. But then my next thing here, Daryl was alive, though not for long, but had too much blood in his mouth to speak. He spit it out onto the dash as he grit his teeth. Bad Juju was all he could sputter. Jordan shook his head against the glass. Shook his head against the glass with the rest of his strength. Nah, man, he said. There ain't no Juju. We did this shit to ourselves. Jordan dropped right then and there. These guys really felt like the wet bandits from Home Alone.
Yeah, kind of actually.
With the level of antics and buffoonery of their deaths.
Yeah.
Like, man, this was this goes in a little bit like what I'm about to have in my next bit about like why I didn't really recommend this story. But I do want to preface that I did enjoy the read, but I'll explain a little bit more on the other part.
So you say that they're like the Wet Bandits, but the Wet Bandits are likely.
Yeah,
these guys are
just
not.
Yeah, these guys are like the Wet Bandits like shitty competition.
They're like actual criminals and not just comedic
they have
cartoon characters.
Yeah, like they do have no. Actually, I would even say the Wet Bandits are kind of likable, but at the end of the day, they are like nasty. Like when they do catch like Kevin McAllister, they're going to kill him if something isn't intervened.
Yeah, but they're not like sexually harassing people and shit like that. They're literally just.
Actually, Marv does a couple of times in the second movie.
Does he?
Yeah, he like
Oh.
yeah.
But then they're the sticky bandits.
Yeah,
Ew.
at that point, sorry, yeah, the sticky bandit. Yeah.
That's bad saying that. In the second movie, there's sexual harassment and also they're sticky now.
Yeah.
That's a bad combination.
Also, they went from the Wet Bandits to the Sticky Bandits. I just clued into that possible like innuendo there, but anyway.
Thanks for ruining that.
Yeah. Thanks. I hate it. But I'll move on to the last bit, which is basically, I mean, I read it already like previously, but it's like the end bit of like the police finding the odd scene, the 4 pounds of spiked methamphetamine, the blood laced salt water on the floor, the wedding band, and the severed finger, and then the lobster named Rocky, still very much alive in the back seat, and maybe feeling minimal pain. I don't know if I'd really call this a creepypasta.
That was my biggest problem with this.
Yeah, a crime pasta to be sure. But like aside from like the skeevy, creepy B&E and sexual assault on Mrs. Kayla's mom,
God, I hate that.
It's more just a slightly dark tale of karma. And like it was enjoyable. Like I enjoyed reading it. Like it was fine enough read like to get through it. It's mildly mundanely bonkers with how they bite it at the end, which was like kind of fun from like a dark point of view. Maybe if it was hinted at that the lobster was some like what actually turned out to be some kind of like otherworldly thing that after dealing with the crooks returned back to Kayla mysteriously. Like Kayla, like maybe like we get another scene like that like cuts away and it's like back at Kayla's house like after like they've like taken their statements from the police and stuff, and Kayla finds that the bucket's back in her bedroom with the lobster like fine and well. It's just like, what the fuck's wrong? What's up with that lobster?
Yeah,
what that lobster
actually
do? And
that
like
one change actually makes it a creepypasta.
Yeah, and then like even like maybe they didn't find the bodies. They just felt like have it like actually state that straight up that like the police didn't find the bodies in the car, even though it showed that they died. And then like maybe even like show that the lobster back at Kayla's house looks a little bit bigger, a little bit more plump, insinuating that it ate them.
Yeah.
Like that I feel like would be like really cool and kind of creepy, and we'd get a buddy horror.
That's right.
Which I'm always down for. Cause like, yeah, like again, like turned out Kayla like asked for like wanted like a pet, and her pet lobster ended up becoming a monster friend. That's the story I wanted.
Yeah,
in terms of like in terms of a creepypasta, this story for me it's all fine and good. It's just it was more of like a crime pasta or even like a karma pasta. Like the creepiness. There's a little bit of creepiness just like in terms of like a mundane factor of like these crooks like breaking into this house and like are they going to kill the family? And then like their death is sort of kind of brutal and like but it's also like kind of bonkers. So it's like. It's sort of a weird one.
It's brutal in the way that like a standard action movie villain dies, you know?
Yeah. Like again, if you'd taken like what happened to like the Wet Bandits or the Sticky Bandits in the Home Alone movies, and like just took it a little bit step further, like that's kind of how this would have ended. Like that's kind of the same situation.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all I kind of like was left with by the end of the story. I was like, I don't know if I'd classify this as a creepypasta, but I liked it. It's just I wish that it had like something about that lobster that was a little bit more like was it a monster? Like was it actually like what did the lobster actually like like do something to like do this, like outside of just being like there and like snapping the guy's finger and distracting them from like, oh, there's the oak tree, smash. Like, was there a little? I just wish there was a little bit more supernatural element to it, but
Yeah, and it doesn't need to directly show us what happened. Just insinuate it is more than enough.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, not knowing is better than knowing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Even just like just a little hint of like how'd that lobster get back home.
Yeah.
Also, it did technically lose a claw from Jordan. Like Jordan yanked its claw off. So
Did he?
yeah, remember? Yeah, like when he got his like finger snapped off. He like grabbed the lobster and like ripped its like claw off in the commotion.
Must have missed that.
Where is that? It's right.
I'm going for it.
Yeah. Daryl shrieked in agony, obviously, as the lobster tightened. Oh, maybe it was Daryl that grabbed the lobster, not Jordan.
Yeah, no, Daryl shrieked.
Yeah. So Jordan was driving.
Yeah, so Daryl went in with his other hand into the bloodbath and pulling the large lobster's claw apart. Yeah. Well, apart, I assumed that as just like spreading the grip open, not destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, that's all I've got for this story. Like, that's my actual thoughts. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
All right. So, continuing at the end. So the lobster, Rocky.
Yep.
He's no longer in the front seat at the end.
No, he's in the back.
Yeah, and he's feeling maybe minimal pain, which could be because he's full from eating his.
I mean, again, like it's Schrodinger's crooks. Like they're not
insinuated.
Yeah,
because it basically says that the car is like a tank, a fish tank. So they became the lobsters.
Like, oh my God, that lobster's not trapped in there with them. They're trapped in that tank with him.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I really do hope like that is like supposed to be like an intended insinuation that like the lobsters like actually like did something like or is actually something more than just a regular lobster, because like that, like I love that. It adds like an air. I know it's probably not, but
I don't think it is, but it would be nice, yeah. Because like even it being in the back seat, that doesn't mean anything because it was just in a car crash, so it could have flung anywhere. It could have flung out the window for all we know. So its location has no anomalous like connection to it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then my next actual thought here is where's the garlic butter?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's sort of like that sort of thing that you like garlic butter you have like when you're like eating like seafood, like shrimp and lobster and stuff. So like it's just sort of like a bad juju with garlic butter, like
So
unless like they didn't know that Rocky was named Rocky by the kid, so maybe like in his dying breath, who is it? Daryl, like, gave the lobster a name. Bad juju.
Yes. Well, my understanding is that the lobster that they chose not to eat was the same lobster that got taken home by the
family.
Kayla's family.
Yeah.
And so they labeled it bad juju at the start.
Yeah.
So it comes around, and the lobster's name is Rocky B. Juju.
Nice. Yes. Guys, I might end up like drawing up and writing up like stats for Rocky B. Juju as a monster friend for Monsters and the Childish Things.
Nice.
That might happen. I might post it on our Patreon. and then eventually it'll go up somewhere else. But yeah, I might post that on there. So
So, and continuing with the whole bad juju thing, these thieves are such idiots. Like,
yeah,
they deliberately chose not to eat lobster because of the bad juju, but then when they're in the process of stealing from a family that happens to have a lobster, they're like, "Oh yeah, we can eat this lobster," which again is still bad juju.
yeah, they know it's
So-
theirs because like, hey, it's your lobster that you didn't eat.
Mhm.
It's like,
So
Yeah.
it's just compounding the bad juju. And are they superstitious about juju or not? Like,
yeah, well, one of them kind of is. The other one doesn't care, but like, also this is more. It feels like they jinxed themselves more than like bad like karma or juju.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they hexed themselves or they jinxed themselves rather than karma's. Well, also karma's a bitch, but also just like, yeah, they were definitely meddling in some like idiosyncratic magic here.
mhm. All right, and then my next actual thought here. Good, Kayla muttered, peering over the side of her bed into the bucket filled with Epsom salt water, listening to Rocky clinking around against the plastic. So, Epsom salt water is not good for lobsters.
You looked this up.
Yes. It
Yeah.
It can be used in aquariums, but it's not recommended for lobsters.
Yeah. Well, it's a temporary thing because like it does state right after that, like her dad and her were gonna like go to the pet store the next day and get him like a proper tank and stuff. So it was probably just like a quick fix kind of thing.
Okay.
Yep.
And then my final actual thought is that I didn't really care for the skeevy section.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I hate to say that. It's weird that when I say this, it's like it was tasteful enough because like
Yeah.
it wasn't like super like he's not like just like stripping her in front of her daughter kind of shit.
It's not
So, like,
Frank.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not Frank from the Wicker Saga stories.
Yeah.
So it was like it was
Of that
it was,
guy.
and like he was just like kind of like fondling her at best or at worst, I guess.
Not to say that that's okay, but
No,
yeah.
absolutely don't condone it at all. But it, like again,
Yeah.
as for the story and like showing like how like scummy these assholes are, like it was tastefully done in that regard.
hmm
Yeah,
It was enough to make us hate him, but not enough that we really hate him.
yeah.
And that's the end of my actual thoughts.
All right, gamer, what do you got?
Well, let's see. The first one here. This is when they get into Kayla's room and start going around. And it says, wait, why did I start that quote with that? Hang on a moment. It's weird. Okay. So Jordan suppresses laugh and approached Daryl's side, pulling a piggy bank from Kayla's dresser. Daryl turned and watched him quietly yank the cork wedged inside of it. And then a little bit of dialogue, and it says that they watch wads of rolled up bills fall into his palm. So maybe I come from more humble upbringings, but piggy banks tend to just have coins in them, and not even dollar coins at that. So is Kayla's family actually rich? Because they didn't sound like it since they couldn't afford a dog, but not. Maybe that's because they're giving Benjamins away on Kayla here for her piggy bank.
Like
It's weird.
maybe she like they thought she was still too young to have a dog or something like that. I do understand. I get it. I actually, growing up, I did have several like piggy banks that like I didn't that I did actually, on top of storing like coins in and such. I did also not wads, but like I had like a couple of like fives and tens in, like $5 and $10 bills. So
I don't know, man. It's
So,
weird.
yeah.
Rolled up bills.
rolled up is weird because like like none of my like I'd have to slip them in like even the bills I had, I'd slip in like one bill at a time, not rolling them up and like slipping them in. So
Yeah, rolling them up would make it harder to put them into the piggy bank.
yeah,
It's very strange.
it is a little odd. But again, it does show like that they are kind of like not rich, but like well off, like well to do.
Yeah, but the whole scene in the restaurant made it seem like they were not well off, and they were just kind of getting by, and they didn't deserve being robbed. And the gross bandit dudes decided to chase them down because they thought they were rich because they bought a lobster, but they're not rich. I thought that was the whole thing.
Okay.
So
See,
the fact that she has like just bills, because it doesn't say it's
no coins.
change with some coins. It's just bills. 100% bills coming out of that piggy bank.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely kind of got the impression that like they were not like, again, they were just like maybe like the crooks got the wrong impression at the there, but like I figured they were kind of like a little well off because like they were willing to like buy a $30 lobster for their daughter to keep, like, yeah. But like they're probably, yeah, but then as the story shows, like when they get to the house, like they don't have any of that money, like any of their actual like good hard spending money, like out and about, like in cash. It's probably like all digital or something like that at that point. So
I don't know. It was just a weird like contrast to what I thought was happening.
Yeah.
Because I thought that they were being unjustly targeted. Meanwhile, apparently they were justly targeted. I don't know. At least just as in they think that they're going for someone that has money and they actually have money.
Yeah.
Compared to trying to rob people that are just struggling to get by. Regardless, moving on. Oh, my other note we actually talked about where I thought that he shot the lobster in the bucket, but he didn't.
Shot the crabs in the bucket.
Yep. So yeah, I actually had no more notes.
Okay. Well, then I suppose we move on to final thoughts. Like I stated, I'm not going to recommend it as a creepypasta. It's good writing. At least I really enjoyed it, and it was a fine enough piece of fiction. But it's not very spooky, and so I have to go off that merit. Because that's kind of our show. But it's a super short, fun crime pasta or karma pasta. So like I might recommend it in that regard to someone, but like as in terms of like a creepypasta, I probably wouldn't recommend this. Mikey, these stands for evil.
Alright. So there are stuff that I didn't like, but it was a somewhat enjoyable read. I did go the route that the maybe in pain is the lobster having a tummy ache at the end.
I do wish for that ending. I do sincerely. That would elevate it to a creepypasta because it's like the lobster did it. Like the lobster ate them. It's some kind of creature or like entity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I am still going to partially recommend it.
All right. And Gamer.
Yeah, my thoughts are still sort of along the same lines as yours, Cultist, where like if you view it as a creepypasta, it is not a creepypasta. It's a capable crime story, as you said, and it was actually pretty easy to read through. When I scrolled, I thought it was like pretty long, but reading through it, it went pretty quick because I wasn't stumbling over anything. And it had good pacing and everything. It didn't waste a lot of time describing stuff it didn't have to. Because there's more or less all thoughts and dialogue. There wasn't much like actual description happening.
Yeah.
So the story itself is fine. It's not creepypasta, as at least the way that Cultus and I view a creepypasta as a creepypasta. If there's something else added in to make it just even give the slightest hint that there's something nefarious going on here with that lobster, then that would do it. But there's nothing there, so it kind of leaves it empty. So I guess I'll give it a non-recommendation as a creepypasta, but it's a fine enough story to read, so I at least partially recommend it for that, as just a fun little crime story. I don't know. It's a weird recommendation on this one.
Yeah, no, it is, because it's like, it was good. It was just the category. It doesn't match the category that entirely. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hate the read at all.
No. Okay,
It wasn't what I
so
signed up for.
So I'm thinking that it's probably like 2.5 non-recommendations, but like also 2.5 like recommendations for the story outside of creepypasta. Like,
yes.
Like it's not a bad. Like I'd recommend it as a story. I just wouldn't recommend it as a creepypasta because it wasn't very creepy, but it was like a fun little read.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that's going for it. Yeah.
Like I could see it being like what happens during some episode of some like show that's on Netflix or something.
Like it could even be like it could be like it could be a scene, a couple of scenes in a show, or like the B or C plot of a movie, or like maybe even the instigating thing that like gets like the police on the trail of like a larger criminal organization because like these two dolts fucked up.
Yep. Or it's something that happens in just one of the side stories of one of the characters on Seinfeld or something.
Yeah.
It's like they all have their own stories that go on.
Honestly, I could see it being in something like Justified, even like just like the two schmuck like henchmen of like this of a crime organization that's dealing in meth die in a stupidly comedical like dumb way at the very like in like right before the credits before the title card even rolls up, and then the rest of the episode is basically the characters and cops like investigating those deaths and then finding the meth and like trying to trace where it came from and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, it's like a premise for like you said, Justified or Monk or something like that.
Yeah, one of those like crime sitcoms or crime series that are online or that were on TV and such.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so like good writing, just not spooky. Unless the lobster did it.
Yeah.
unless lobster is guilty. In which case, 10 out of 10.
Kind of. Yeah.
Definitely 3 spooky 5 me.
Wow.
But I'll move on to the final bit here. So yeah, that's basically our final thoughts, I think. So yep. But yeah, that'll do it for tonight. If you like what you heard or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted. Some of us are on Blue Sky. Mikey is at the E stands for evil, and I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldentebrigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah.
Also, that's the part I forgot last week.
I
didn't do that part.
And if you'd like to help our show financially, you can go to Patreon. We have special episodes, early access, and extra content. To all our patrons helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without your authorship, with writing and posting these stories on the internet, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. So thank you. And now's a good time to mention that we are a part of a podcast network, Crit in the Night, an actual play and creepypasta podcast network. We're there alongside our sister podcast, One Less Die, and our cousin podcast, The Role Playing Exchange, for things that go crit in the night. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.